Wake up, little darling. You have slept for too long. I could have sworn that spell worked. Wake up. You are bound to my will, sort of, and I command you. That's better. Try to stand up. Careful now, you're quite brittle. Marvelous. You look absolutely marvelous. Do your eyes work? Just answer the question. Can you see at all? I need you to be able to see, and it's hard for me to tell, darling, when you have no eyeballs. Why what? Gather your thoughts and form a coherent sentence. That's just a lot of screaming in my head, little one. Why you don't have eyeballs? Isn't it obvious? You're a walking skeleton, darling. I just reanimated you. Yes, just bones, nothing more. Hang on. I think there might be a bit of flesh left on one of your ribs. No, never mind. 'Twas just a piece of cobweb. Do you think you can turn your head to the left a bit? Without losing it, I mean. I don't think it's properly attached, but give it a try. Oh, don't be so squeamish. It can always be reattached. I'll help you look for it if it rolls away. That's it. Do you see that beautiful, luminescent blue orb hovering next to you, with a tiny thread of it stuck to your femur? That's me. I'm made of ectoplasm at the moment. Physical in a way, but I don't have a body like you. My pneuma is bound to you now, through the thin silver thread between us, yes. That means that when you walk around, I come with. I am hoping that this will not become a permanent arrangement. My goal is to obtain a new body of my own, but for now, being tethered to you will have to do. There is one tiny detail I need you to keep in mind. If the tether that binds us is severed, you will crumble into an inanimate pile of bones once again. You depend on me just as much as I depend on you. Oh no, don't think of it like that. You are not a slave. This is a mutually beneficial arrangement. Surely you can see that. You're more like a servant, you know. I keep you somewhat alive, and your skeletal form allows me to move around. I've been stuck here for rather a long time, you see. Where we are, don't you remember? We are in my royal tomb. I must have been here for centuries, if not longer. I suppose the world up above must have changed quite a bit, but soon enough they will cower before me again, like they once did. You, darling? Oh, you haven't been here for that long. You were a grave robber, see? Is it starting to come back to you now? Somehow you managed to break in here, you and 3 others. Perhaps you tricked the door somehow. But my contemporaries did plan for such an event, and the poison gas still worked as intended. So you and your little posse didn't last long, I'm afraid. Your body was the only one that ended up close enough for me to reach. It still took me a while to build up enough pneuma to reach out to you, hence your skeletal form. But better late than never. Pneuma. It's drawn from living things usually, and there is very little of that around here. It means that I have very little power right now. That will change once we get out of here, though. So much time wasted, hoping for little earthworms, grubs and spiders to crawl close enough that I could draw their life essence from them. No other living thing within reach, and such a small sliver of pneuma I got each time. 1 drop here and 1 drop there, until finally I could reach out and tether a small thread of it to you, my darling minion. Oh, you're wondering why I could not possess my own dead body. I was cremated, darling, so there was no dead body for me to possess here, not even my own, until you showed up. My ashes are in the golden urn on the pedestal just over there. The lighting is poor in here, so it's hard to see, but it is pure gold. I was buried with quite a lot of treasure, and my pneuma, my soul, if you will, was bound to that phylactery you see next to the urn. I couldn't move very far at all. The phylactery kept me here, imprisoned in my tomb. I could not pass on, and I could not possess anyone, not even you when you first entered. But eventually I managed to move the binding from the phylactery to your little femur, and you can move around for me now that I have reanimated you, which is a great improvement, I must say. Yes, I'm really quite happy about it. Reanimation is far easier than possession. It requires a fraction of the pneuma. Oh, don't worry, darling. I wouldn't take your body, even if I were strong enough. I will possess someone else when the time comes, but not you, no. You're far too frail. Besides, I need flesh on my bones if people are to take me seriously. In addition to binding me to my phylactery, the walls of my tomb are also heavily enchanted. They didn't want any part of me to escape, so they made sure that no ethereal, non-physical being could pass through the door or leak out through the walls. Yes, they feared me a great deal, you see, and they must have to construct a tomb like this. That is quite flattering, to be honest. It is better to be feared than loved, don't you agree? Well, my visage is somewhat diminished now, but I am still a very royal-looking orb, don't you think? Thank you, darling. You're a good little minion, servant. We'll get along marvelously, I'm sure. Now, if you could just start walking in that direction. No, the opposite. And that's it. You should take it slow at first. It will take some practice getting used to your present state, I would think. The door isn't far, and beyond it a labyrinth of underground passages, if I remember correctly. Oh, I don't know how to navigate them, no. I just know that they're there, as an extra defense in case I ever got out. Well, you're the tomb robber. You should know them better than me. But then again, I suppose most of your memories were kept in your brains, not your bones. That's the door. Yes, the one with a big eye etched into it. Do you remember passing it when you came here? You don't. It's a test, see? It's enchanted but not sentient. It must have degraded somewhat over time. At least I hope so.
Hold, visitor. Under my watchful eye, no dead may pass. Are you dead?
Shake your head. Shake your head now.
You have a physical shell and pneuma, the soul material of the living. You may pass.
Don't just stand there. Walk through. That was easier than I thought. What a stupid door. The passage splits up ahead. First crossroad. This place looks wonderfully decrepit. Luminescent fungi and water dripping everywhere. I'm just delighted to see something different. after all these years. Do you have any idea how to navigate a maze? We should be in the center right now. What do you think? Try to take an equal number of left turns and right turns. That's a terrible idea. Anything else? One hand on the wall and never let go. That works in simple mazes, but this one is probably too complex. You can keep your hand on the wall all the time and still end up back where you started. We would probably need something like a trail of distinct pebbles and leave them behind us every time the passage splits. And we don't have anything like that. And you, my dear, I do not think you are able to bend over without collapsing into a heap. No, that's another bad idea. Yes, I know. You came up with 2 ideas, and I just came up with 1. No need to rub it in. Just go. Yes, just pick a path. And don't complain later that I never let you choose anything. Ooh, a rat. Delicious little morsel. A dozen or so of those, and I might be able to cast a Pathfinder spell. I suppose we will find enough of them eventually. I wonder if they still remember me. The living, darling, the people up above. Do they still whisper my name when something bad happens? I bet they scare disobedient children with me. Do as you're told, or the Witch Queen will take you away. Did they speak of me still when you were alive? No, nothing at all. Tales of necromancy in the distant past. That's very vague. They don't remember me then. You don't know who I am either, do you? Oh, that's really annoying. Why did you come here then? Tales of ancient treasure, guarded by a demon, you say? I guess that's something. A great deal of time must have passed, more than I realized. Many generations, most likely. I used to run the city up above, you know. It was my own undead queendom. Oh, I was known by many names back then. They called me the Pale Monarch, the Dread Sovereign, the Bone Weaver, because I always preferred skeletons to other undead. The ones with flesh on their bones get rather smelly after a while. But the moniker I liked the best was the Witch Queen of the Shattered Veil. That's what my enemies called me anyway. It refers to the veil that separates the living and the dead, darling. Different worlds, but in my queendom they flourished together. Other up-and-coming necromancers surrounded themselves mainly with the undead. But I let the living stay as well. People would flock to my land from far and wide. Sorcerers shunned for their dark practices. Witches hunted in their own realm. Criminals and outcasts of all sorts, really. The decrepit were always welcome. In the streets of my necropolis, they would go about their daily lives, walk side by side with my skeletons, ghouls, and dark knights. We had agriculture and everything. The living need to eat, you know. And when they died, I reanimated them to serve at my side. Oh, they worshipped me, darling. The living and the dead, and fed me, of course. Stable rule, that's what the people need. Predictability. And what's more stable than a ruler that never dies? Why I let the living live? Because I feed off of them naturally. We've gone through this before, darling. I need Numa to use my magic. When I can sift it from a sizable living population, none of them need to be killed for it. I just take a little from each and they regain it over time. Other necromancers often make the mistake of surrounding themselves exclusively with the undead. And when they need more Numa, they have to attack the living. And so they will be hunted down sooner or later. Many of them are also megalomaniacs, you know. They set themselves very lofty goals, like taking over the whole world and keeping the living as cattle. It never ends well. I'm far more humble. Humble, yes, that's a good way to describe me, don't you think? And very intelligent, of course. And consistent. I drew up the borders of my queendom and never wavered. I upheld them and defended them and never expanded. Ooh, another little ratty. Other necromancers are really very silly compared to me. Like Morthane Gravecaller, for example, who went into all sorts of graveyards in living cities and woke everyone up in one big swoop, and then proceeded to set upon the city with everyone's recently dead relatives stumbling behind her. Who knows what she wanted to achieve by that? Whatever it was, she failed. The living called on their mighty Sky Father and struck her down with light magic. Sunbeams and lightning bolts and the like. Can you hear something, darling? Up ahead? I think there's someone there. Can you see that? Over by that pillar thing.
Hello? Is anybody there? Hello? I'm trapped over here.
That voice. It sounds so familiar.
Come over here and free me this instant, whoever you are. It's quiet again. Probably just a rat. Or I'm starting to hear things. Again.
Oh, I know that guy. That's Eldrin. I almost married him once. Oh, those were the times. Wonder what he's up to nowadays. He seems to be stuck somehow. A bit ironic, since he used to be known as Eldrin the Unbound. Let's go over and say hello.
There it is again. Hello. Come over here and free me, and I can lead you to the long-lost treasures of these ancient catacombs.
No, darling, he cannot hear us. Because we are speaking telepathically. Neither of us have vocal cords, you know. Once he realizes that, he'll switch to telepathy as well. That's right. No one can hear us. Not our voices, I mean. And they can hear other sounds we make, of course. Like your bones rattling when you walk.
Come over here, so I can see you. I can't turn around, so you'll have to get closer. You must be lost if you have wandered this far into the catacombs. I know the way out of here. Free me, and I might tell you. Oh, there you are. A walking skeleton, I see. About ready to fall apart, by the looks of you. Can you understand me at all? Who reanimated you? It's that thing by your side, isn't it? Is that ectoplasm? That's what's keeping you together? Telepathy, then, I suppose. Who are you?
Eldrin, it's me.
Imogen. My dear, sweet Imogen, here to save me.
I'm not here for you. I didn't even know you were down here. How did you end up bound to this pillar?
I was tricked, Imogen. Lured here by rumors of an immovable magical artifact, and I fell right into their trap. The king's paladins were waiting for me, and bound me to this pillar, enchanted by their foul light magic.
Technically, the pillar is an immovable magical artifact.
Created by them. with the intention to hold me prisoner for eternity.
Yes, that sounds familiar. The king's paladins, you say? And what king is that?
When I was bound here, the ruler of what used to be your necropolis, they call it Brightspire now, was Alistair the Just, I believe.
And how long ago was that?
By the occasional chill in these walls marking a new winter, I have counted 57 years bound by these terrible chains of light. Oh, you have no idea how I have suffered.
Yes, I can see that. It must burn dreadfully, being bound by chains of light.
But now that you have freed yourself, somehow, you will help an old friend out, will you not? We can ravage the world of the living once again, you and I.
Perhaps we shall, but tell me first, what is this Brightspire kingdom like?
They're a bunch of holier-than-thou light worshippers. Knights, paladins, and the like, all fighting the necromantic plague, as they called me. And they built their kingdom on your downfall.
Really? What happened exactly?
When you died a mortal death, without achieving the lichhood that you had planned for so long, the neighboring human kingdoms took advantage and moved in. Over the years, you became a myth, a half-forgotten tale of an ancient enemy they defeated. I do believe you're part of the foundational myth of their city-state, Brightspire.
Oh, had they only known that I am right below their feet at this very moment. They didn't move the city, did they?
No, it's still there. Right above us, if you can find the way out.
I will, eventually. I have nothing but time.
Don't be a fool, Imogen. The rattling bones you have carrying you around will not last long. When your little skeletal pet falls apart, you'll be stuck down here again, just in a different room. So, Chop Chop, let's get me out of these bonds now. It's the symbols carved on the pillar. I know the combination.
I'm afraid not, Eldrin.
Oh, I suppose you want me to ask nicely. Please, oh pretty please, dear sweet Imogen, free me from my bonds.
I'd rather shit in my hands and clap.
You don't even have hands. What in the Necronomicon has gotten into you?
I have had a lot of time to think, Eldrin, on how I was captured right after I broke our engagement by knights that knew a lot more details about my castle and my security than they had any right to. And on the very night before my unholy ascension as well. I was so close. I think I'll let you stew down here for a few centuries longer at least. Then we'll see. Perhaps I shall miss you eventually. But for now, your present predicament suits me just fine. Toodaloo. That's your cue to go, darling.
Come back here, you wretch. You cotton-headed ninny. You pompous fish dancer. Well, if you change your mind, you know where to find me.
That shit and clap retort was rather good, don't you think? Yes, I'm very pleased with that one. Oh, I didn't come up with it. A cobbler said that to me once, when I commanded him to serve me. He did not live long enough to shit ever again. Can you feel that? A tremor. And another. Blasted damnation. There goes the floor. Wake up, little darling. How are you feeling? Stronger than before. And that's because you are, darling. I have eaten the pneuma of many rats since we last spoke. Oh, a couple of weeks, I would guess. Not much more. Yes, we fell through the floor. You collapsed into a heap, of course. And I still can't go anywhere on my own. We seem to be in an abandoned mine. It is, somewhat unstable. Oh, it was very boring without you, darling. But I didn't want to reanimate you again until I could do a better job of it. And just a little while ago, a small group of goblins passed by. Oh, they're over there now, what's left of them. It was wonderful, darling. Pneuma from higher animals, and there were 5 of them. That's how I could reanimate you so soon. And guess what? I still have pneuma to spare. Yes, great progress. Now try to stand up. Very good. Your bones are bound quite strongly now. I haven't fed this well in ages. And yes, I spent a fair bit of it on you. You're welcome, little darling. Now, walk over to that corner over there. There's a dead adventurer of some sort over there, and I think he has clothes. Oh, don't worry, darling. I would never replace you. That one hasn't been dead for very long. He's far too fleshy for my tastes. I prefer your skeletal form. Flesh is nasty if you ask me. Smelly skin sacs full of gore. I didn't really like it even when I had flesh myself. Skeletons are much better, nice and dry, like you, darling. When I find someone fit to possess, I will have to deal with it, of course, but not yet. Go on, try them on, but carefully now. There's a cape and everything. You look dashing, darling, like a skeletal assassin. Could you hold out a hand for me? A little lower and palm up. Yes, like that. And I'll just move over a little and hover above it. So it looks like you're holding me, yes. Makes us look a great deal better, I think. Less like two separate beings and more like one entity. Much scarier, yes. Well, we have to be prepared, darling. There are others traversing these caves from time to time, obviously. We want them to run away in fear if they see us, not attack in disgust. You are stronger now, darling, but you wouldn't last long in a fight. You don't even have a weapon. I think there's something in your pocket. Looks like a letter of some sort. Can you take a look? I'm assuming you can't read, since you're holding it upside down. That's better. It's a missive. Very official looking. To all able-bodied citizens of Brightspire. To fight the goblin menace, the king is now offering a reward of 3 silver coins for every goblin head delivered to the Royal Camerlengo's office in High Street. It is believed that the goblins are exiting through the old dwarven mines under the citadel. It is not advised to enter the mines alone or unprepared. That's all it says. Do you see that on the wall? Look like whoever died here wrote something in blood. How quaint. Party dead and entrance collapsed. No way out. The drums of the goblins draw near. The rest is illegible. A warning to others, perhaps. There might be more people trapped in here then. It seems I did not know my own lands as well as I thought. Under my castle a maze, and under the maze an old, abandoned, dwarven mine, and under the mine, who knows? Goblins live on the ground, mostly. Not much were known about them in my time. They might have entire realms down there. The entrance to the mine might have collapsed, but I bet the goblins have more than one way to the surface. Let us explore a bit, look for weaknesses in the walls. By the way, darling, do you know how to fight? Not in the slightest. I see. Any magical talent? None at all. What did you do exactly before you died? Other than tomb raiding, I mean. I see. Yes, I suppose that is a job of sorts. Can't imagine it paid much. It didn't. And that's why you resorted to desecrating my resting place. Well, I'm very glad you did. I might yet reach my long elusive goal, courtesy of your greedy hands. My plan was always to ascend to lichdom, like Eldrin did. It just took a long time to prepare, you know. It's a very complicated process, and I was always very busy, so I just kept extending and extending my human lifespan and planning for the perfect ascension. My queendom lasted 700 years before I was ready to attempt lichhood. Yes, I was alive, in a way, but I was very, very dry. Look at that wall, darling. Does it look brittle to you? All those cracks. And I think I can hear something scurrying around on the other side. Perhaps I can try a small force wave and hope that the whole mine does not collapse on top of us. Oh, look. It's a whole other tunnel. How wonderful. I love being right. Seems like a natural cave filled with spider webs. Giant cave spiders by the looks of them. Fascinating creatures. Strong, fast, very intelligent, a strict hierarchy, and a matriarchy no less. They have a lot in common with me, come to think of it. Oh, no need to be afraid, darling. Why should you fear spiders? They cannot eat you. You have no flesh on your bones, remember? And no poison can hurt you anymore. Yes, there are certain advantages to being undead. We should be able to pass through safely enough. This has turned into quite the detour, but I think I prefer this route. When we started out, I thought we would navigate through the maze, find our way up to the sewers above it, and scramble out through somebody's outhouse. Compared to that, giant spiders are vastly preferable, don't you think? It's important to stay positive, darling, especially for a Dark Lord. There are a lot of thick webs here, though. Tread carefully. I would not want you to get stuck here, not when we have come so far. Look, a weaver. Up there, darling, by the ceiling. See how big she is. Long, thin legs and fangs, ready to spring on you from above. What a wonderful tactic. She's watching us as well. She's trying to figure us out. We can probably talk to her, since she's used to a sort of hive mind. Go a bit closer, would you? Hold, Bone Walker. I guard the border of the clan of the Ebon Fang. What is your business here? I wish only to pass through your domain. You carry fire. You cannot pass. Mother's brood is large. These caves are ours. My fire is blue and cold. It cannot burn your webs, nor your precious eggs. We have never seen your kind before. We do not know what your blue fire can do. Take a good look at me then. Do you see me as a threat? You are clever, Bone Walker, but slow and weak. You will not escape the web, nor the hunt. Why should I burn you then, if it would mean my own death? Let me pass through your domain, and I will bother you no more. Where are you headed, Bone Walker? To the surface world, up above. That is where my own domain lies. The closest exit lies behind you. Turn back. That exit has collapsed, I'm afraid. We need another route. I will ask Mother. Good. I will wait in the cave back there. No need. Across the span of web we talk. Words are twanged and thrummed from thread to thread. She already knows. Brood Mother has approved your passage. I do not know the way. In the city of the long-gone Netherlings, where the greenskins now dwell, there is a staircase. In the courtyard of the crumbling castle, it still stands, bound by ancient forces, older than anyone remembers. It leads up and up and up. The greenskins use it now and then to raid the sun-strewn surface world. That is your way out. Follow this tunnel, and you will soon see the city. Thank you, Weaver. I will go at once. Cross our lands quickly, Bone Walker. Leave web and eggs and brood alone, or we will descend upon you. Every step you take will be watched. What a beautiful creature. Dangerous, elegant, confident. Did you not find her beautiful, darling? One day I must meet their brood mother. What a magnificent specimen she must be. The greenskins she mentioned must be the goblins, no doubt, and the spiders must have some arrangement with them, since the goblin seems to traverse their domain. There's a whole world down here that I knew absolutely nothing about. Oh yes, darling, I'm very happy about it. The creatures down here are to my advantage, don't you see? There are very few, if any, realms up above that I can trade with, cooperate with. I was always very much on my own, you know, except for Eldrin, and you know how that turned out. And as I said before, I held fast to my borders and never expanded. I knew the limitations of my powers. An empire that grows too large will crumble under its own weight. But now I can expand downwards. Dominion or trade agreements, I do not know. Perhaps a bit of both. But if I find and control surface entrances to this wonderful underworld, that would be a good start. This staircase sounds very interesting. I wonder where it exits. Would you look at that, darling? What a wonderful view. The tunnel opens up into a glowing mushroom forest. There's little critters living here, flying, crawling, and bigger ones too, and glittering gemstones up above, like stars in the sky. A grand valley lies before us, and look, on that hill, stretching up towards the roof high above. That must be the city of the Netherlings, as the spider called them. Yes, goblins live there now, apparently. But that won't be a problem unless we are swarmed by them. Go over to that stone marker over there by the side of the road. As I thought, it's a border stone, marking the border between the realm of the dwarves and the realm of the hidden ones. I suppose it's been here longer than the spiders have. These are the ancient runes of the hidden ones. I could read them once, but I'm a bit rusty. It looks like a warning. No trespassers. Eyes watching. Follow the path, darling. It should take us to the city, and while we walk, I'll tell you a little story. I assume you've never heard of the hidden ones. No, I didn't think so. They were a half-forgotten myth, even in my time. This is the story I heard about them, and it happened when the world was new, and the three-faced creator had just recently split into three distinct divines. The Sky Father, the Mother of all waters, and the one who gnaws at the roots of the world. Kelborath, we used to call him, god of underground caves and tunnels, and everything that is hidden. From them came the minor deities, the plethora of smaller gods people pray to every day. Anyway, darling, this story happened in the beginning of time, when the world was brand new, and Skyfather still walked among its young people, often in disguise. One day, he stopped at a farmhouse on the outskirts of a small village. He was invited in by the couple who lived there and shown around. They thought he was a rich merchant or some other man of importance. Skyfather asked if he could see their children, but the woman was embarrassed because she had only had time to wash and clothe half of them that morning, before the distinguished visitor showed up. So she showed Skyfather only the clean and well-dressed of her children, and hid the rest of them away in the basement. Then Skyfather asked, "Is this all the children you have?" And the wife said, "Yes, I have none other." Skyfather then became angry, and he said, "The ones you have denied shall be denied by the whole world. The ones you have hidden shall remain hidden and always live underground." And these children and their offspring became the hidden ones, the people who dwell in the earth. They live now in the realm of Kelborath, the Earth Shaker. They worship him, and he twisted and shaped the earth for them, and gave them caves and tunnels and rich realms underground where they could build and live. Goblins live in caves, yes, and dwarves dig their mines, but they also come above ground when it pleased them. The hidden ones cannot surface, no matter how much they want to, and they envy the surface dwellers, the stories say, and cannot forget the world they have lost up above. Dark, envious creatures that kidnaps human children when they can, to raise them in the darkness of their own realm. Do you believe the story, darling, when you look at that sprawling city before us, drawing closer with every step you take? It is hard not to believe it when confronted with such a sight. If they are truly gone, we might never know. But I sense a curious presence from that castle, the one whose courtyard holds the staircase. Why would one of their cities hold a staircase to the surface if they can never go there? We are approaching the gates. Keep going, darling. I will consume any goblins we meet, and they should soon learn to stay out of our path. Does this feel like a trap to you, darling? Yes, it does. doesn't it? This was just entirely too easy. Except for that first patrol, everyone else just stayed out of our way. Yes, darling. It might be because I ate the first few of them. But there's something else going on here as well. I can feel it in your bones. I'm pretty sure there's someone up in that tower, watching us. And they're probably in command of the goblins somehow, and that means they talk to the spiders as well. And the staircase emanates magic, strong and complex. And this is no simple enchantment, like the door to my crypt, set in place long ago and then left alone. This magic barrier is continuously maintained. Whoever controls it can turn it on and off at will. Yes, I think so as well. The creature in the tower probably lets the goblins through whenever it wants. If we touch the door now, we would probably be blasted to pieces, the both of us. So we'll just sit here for a while and wait. If the creature in the tower realized we will not simply try to open the gate, it might try to speak to us. Until then, we will block the gates, and the goblins cannot use it as long as we do. If they want to use it again, they'll have to bargain with us. This place can do with a bit of renovation. Don't suppose the goblins are capable of that. No, darling, they're dumb as bricks, most of them. Almost as dumb as my zombies. Oh yes, darling, I used to have droves of them, a whole army. Kept downwind of me and at a fair distance, of course. Oh, they just accumulate, darling. When you resurrect everyone that attacks you, you end up with quite a lot of them after a while. They don't last forever, no. They fall apart eventually, but they work well enough as infantry, as long as you have enough of them. Yes, darling, I didn't keep them in the palace. I were usually nowhere near them myself, of course. But there was this one time when I was inspecting my zombie army, as Dark Lords and Ladies are expected to do now and then. And they were all supposed to stand to attention in my courtyard. Oh, no, not really. They just kind of wobbled about. And then one of them managed to elbow another one in the belly, and the two of them started fighting. In just a few moments, all of them were going at it. There was nothing at all my dark knights could do to stop it. So, we just had to let them fight. Oh, it was quite entertaining, darling. I was watching them from a balcony up above. It was like an old-fashioned wedding feast. They fought all night. And when the sun rose the next day, I had not a single intact zombie left. So I sent for all my taxidermists from far and wide and... What, darling? Taxidermists, yes. I'm sorry, darling. I keep forgetting you're still brand new. Taxidermists are the doctors of the undead, darling. Yes, that's right. Makes a lot of sense, doesn't it? Anyway, darling, I sent for all available taxidermists, and they all came to my necropolis to patch my zombie army back together. And they were patching and sewing and patching for days on end. And when they were finally done, darling, and this was the strangest thing, I still have no idea how it came about. When they were done, they had enough spare parts left over to put together an entirely new zombie. Can you imagine? My zombie army fought itself and increased by 1. The new one? Oh no, darling, he was useless. All wonky. Different parts of him had different colors and sizes, and one leg was considerably shorter than the other. He mostly just walked in circles. I called him Snuggles. He was a good boy. Look, darling, there's a lone goblin approaching. He's holding something. I can't see what it is. Can you? He's throwing it. No, stay where you are. I'm perfectly aware that it might be a bomb, but we are not going all the way back to Eldrin to look for another way out. Well, it hasn't exploded yet. Oh, I see. It's a sending stone. They do want to talk then. A sending stone, darling. It enhances telepathic signals, allows us to talk over some distance. Pick it up, darling. Yes, I'm certain. It should be safe enough. Hello? Who are you? Blocking my gate. Open it, why don't you? And let me through. Why? Because then I will not be blocking it anymore. My goblins can swarm you. I don't think they want to, since they saw what happened to the ones who came too close to me before. If all of them attack at once, it will be too many for you. If you control them as well as you want me to believe, they would have done so already. There are advantages to using undead. They are generally more obedient than the living. You annoy me. Open the gate, and you'll be rid of me soon enough. Who are you? I was once known as the Witch Queen of the Shattered Veil. Never heard of you. Of course you haven't. Nobody has. And who are you? My name is Morian Senna of the Naxlar. I have not heard of you either. I did not expect you to, as you are of the surface world. Is this the city of your people? It was once. They left long ago, and they left you behind, I see. 'Tis my punishment. I cannot leave the tower, but my powers stretches throughout the city, and with the goblins at my beck and call, my might stretches further still. Something tells me your goblins are not as loyal as you would like me to believe. You are perceptive, Witch Queen. My goblins are not as obedient as they have been in the past. They have lost some of their fear of me. Tell me what happened. Perhaps we can help each other. Doubtful. They have unionized. Ah, workers' unions. The downfall of many a dark lord. I find undead more reliable in that sense. They're mostly too dumb to even think of it. And the ones who are not are too few and far between for it to make any difference. I have no inclination towards necromancy. I draw on the elemental magic of the deep, like my people. I see. We might be able to help each other after all, then. How so? The city up above used to be mine. I aim to make it so again. Your goblins could be an asset or a hindrance. I will not be very strong at first and have few troops. You are not satisfied with your own situation here. We can help each other grow stronger in separate neighboring realms. Perhaps. But it feels wrong to just open the gate and let you go. Without some sort of fight or contest, you mean? Yes, something of the sort. How about rock, paper, scissors? Why not? But I go first. Rock, paper, scissors. Rock, paper. Dang. Best out of 3. Why not? Rock, paper, scissors. Scissors. Paper. Yes. Rock, paper, scissors. Paper, scissors. Dang nabbit. Lost again. Wait a minute. Did you trick me? I chose the game, but you chose when to answer. How could it be a trick? Yes, that is true. I will open the gate then. A deal is a deal. My goblins will report on your progress up above. We will speak again. Thank you, Morian Zena of the Nuxlar. We will keep the sending stone for now, if you don't mind. When my powers have grown, I can use it to reach you, even from the surface. Good luck, Witch Queen. May our futures be mutually beneficial. We made it, darling. Let's go. The surface world is at our feet. Well, technically it's above our heads, but you know what I mean. Yes, we can speak freely. The sending stone is inactive, I can tell. She's not listening in, not even trying. I think she's a little embarrassed, which is understandable. If the only people you can talk to are unionized goblins, your social skills will, no doubt, deteriorate. I think she might have been one of the hidden ones, yes. Well, of course they would not call themselves that. We might inquire carefully about that at a later date. One thing is for certain. They brought their best minds with them when they left. Perhaps we should talk about your future, darling. About what happens when we can finally see the sky again. Oh, you have been an invaluable help, darling, and I will not forget that. When I find a suitable body to inhabit, and I doubt it will take too long, you will be free of me, so to speak. So, I want to give you a choice, darling. I'm nothing if not reasonable, after all. You can return to your blissful non-existence or scamper off to whatever afterlife you might believe in, I suppose, while your bones rot away in the ground. Oh, I'll give you a grand funeral, you can be sure of it. Without you, I would not have been able to leave my crypt, and I am ever so grateful, darling. What, darling? Oh, the other choice. To let you remain reanimated, of course. To continue to serve me. What you would do? Oh, I don't know. What would you like to do, darling? A skeleton is a fragile thing, but it can be strengthened considerably, given enough time. Like I did with you, after the floor collapsed. If that process is continued, you would eventually be able to maintain yourself without me and grow even stronger. You could become one of my dark knights, commanding your own troops. Or you could lead my personal guard, perhaps. You will have plenty of career opportunities in my Necropolis Reborn. Is that what you want to go for? Wonderful. You and me, darling. It might take some time before I can grant you any of that, you know. Wherever we surface, we'll have to start small, of course. We might pop up in an old well, or in my own castle dungeon somewhere, or in the woods outside of the city. Wherever we pop up, we have to be careful. Take one house, one neighborhood at a time. It will be a long game, but a very satisfying one, I'm sure. And most importantly, darling, we'll have fun doing it.